freezing Altai Mountains, an ecosystem built on brutal endurance where the wind is the only master. But perched above the Mongolian steppes is a biological missile, a predator capable of unleashing a 320 kilometers per hour Stoop. As 5 o'clock in the morning strikes, a freezing mist clings to the jagged snow-capped ridges. The world is bathed in cool blue hues, holding its breath before dawn. In this high-altitude ecosystem, every day is an intricate game of energy, stealth, and sheer kinetic power. High above the valley floor, the undisputed master of this domain stirs. The golden eagle, a raptor of terrifying scale, shakes the cold night dew from its heavy feathers. As an apex predator, it understands the absolute virtue of patience. Far below the eagle's rocky throne, a massive Eurasian brown bear lumbers heavily toward the safety of a deep mountain cave. Its immense bulk requires vast calories simply to stay warm. As diffused daylight spreads across the golden steppes, it must retreat to conserve its strength. Here, immense size is an expensive biological liability. Down on the sweeping plains, a heavily muscled gray wolf trots steadily back toward higher elevations. It is the ghost of the steppe, returning after a night of coordinated pursuit. Deep within the rocky crags, a fiercely aggressive wolverine climbs awkwardly, but with terrifying power, into a dark crevice, yawning to reveal bone-crushing teeth. The air is suddenly pierced by a screech as a swift Saker falcon launches into a high-speed linear patrol of the canyons. Below it, an elegant flock of demoiselle cranes aggressively stabs the dirt for emerging insects, while a steppe polecat slinks rapidly into a narrow trench to sleep away the treacherous daylight. As 8 o'clock arrives, the physics of the mountain atmosphere begin to shift. Weak sunlight warming the stone generates invisible columns of rising hot air. The golden eagle finally launches into the abyss, plummeting for a terrifying second before its 2-meter wingspan catches the thermal updraft. Without flapping once, it is carried effortlessly upward. This thermal soaring is a masterpiece of aerodynamic evolution, allowing the raptor to scan thousands of acres with zero energy exertion. is soon joined by the true giants of the air. An immense cinereous vulture circles slowly, its featherless head turning downward to inspect the ground for death. This specialized scavenger searches purely for scattered bones, which it drops from great heights to shatter on the rocks below. As the morning progresses, a delicate, lethal balance is fully underway. Hidden among the gray boulders, a fluffy Pallas's cat creeps incredibly slowly forward. Its remarkably dense fur and flat head turn it into a living stone, trading speed for extreme patience and invisibility. Back on the cliff faces, a herd of Siberian ibex traverses a near vertical wall, their specialized split hooves providing unparalleled grip on the solid granite. Above, the golden eagle adjusts its primary flight feathers, its superior visual acuity dissecting the chaotic terrain miles below. On the plains, an agile Corsac Fox trots rapidly, tracking a fresh scent. Incredibly hungry, it is forced to hunt in dangerous, exposed territory. A sudden shadow racing across the ground causes the fox to flinch violently, a hardwired survival reflex triggered by the eagle soaring above. But mountain weather is a fickle, unforgiving master. Approaching midday, the invisible thermal highways collapse. The wind completely dies. The overcast sky traps solar radiation, and an oppressive, stagnant heat settles heavily over the Altai range. This atmospheric lull forces a universal stillness. Stripped of aerodynamic lift, the golden eagle glides heavily to a shaded ledge, opening its sharp beak to pant away its dangerously rising core temperature. Flight requires massive caloric burn. Without assisting wind, the heavy raptor risks fatal hyperthermia. As high noon strikes, the sheer physical mass of the large mammals becomes a severe thermal liability. The Eurasian brown bear is fast asleep in the coldest depths of its cave. The snow leopard, trapped in an incredibly thick winter coat, lies stretched out on cool granite. On the open plains, there is absolutely no shelter. The Corsac Fox curls tightly beneath a pitiful patch of dry scrub, using its thick tail to block the glaring light. The demoiselle cranes stand completely still, lifting one long leg entirely off the hot earth, panting heavily. The massive Argali sheep enter a state of standing torpor, conserving massive amounts of energy while staring blankly into the valley. The giant scavengers, the cinereous and bearded vultures, are similarly grounded on dead pine branches, imprisoned by gravity, waiting patiently for the atmospheric pressure to shift. In the suffocating hours that follow, true sanctuary is found only underground. The Tarbagan marmots lie completely flat on their backs, maximizing skin contact with the cool subterranean earth. The steppe polecat sleeps soundly, protected by feet of dense soil. High on the cliffs, the tiny Altai pika is wedged tightly between two shaded rocks, panting rapidly. The entire ecosystem is effectively shut down, paralyzed by the intense, stagnant pressure. The turning point finally arrives when the earth begins to cool. Shadows stretch and a faint whistling echoes through the high gorges. The mountain wind has returned. Instantly, the stagnation breaks. The golden eagle stands upright, giving its massive body a violent shake to realign its flight feathers. Hunger replaces heat exhaustion. The raptor flaps its wings with incredible power, rapidly gaining altitude. With the dropping temperatures, the steppe's predators begin their work. The gray wolf pack wakes, and bowing deeply to limber, powerful muscles. The snow leopard transitions from deep sleep to lethal readiness, stepping silently out of its cave.
The Saker Falcon launches explosively, becoming an aerodynamic missile. On the plains, the Tarbagan marmots aggressively resume eating, constantly scanning the skies.
The agile Corsac Fox is incredibly hungry. Breaking cover, it trots rapidly across the completely open, exposed golden dirt. It freezes, flushing a steppe polecat toward a rocky crevice. The fox gives chase, snapping its jaws on empty air as it barely misses catching the polecat at the burrow entrance. The failed hunt leaves the fox exhausted and completely exposed. It is a fatal error in the caloric economy. High above, the golden eagle spots the isolated movement. The eagle abandons passive soaring, locking its heavily muscled wings. The marmot sentinels scream a continuous alarm, diving underground. The Corsac Fox stops completely, looking up in horror at the rapidly growing black shape in the sky. The golden eagle violently pulls its massive wings tight against its body, entering a near vertical stoop dive. Gravity is harnessed as a pure biological weapon. The eagle accelerates past 300 kilometers per hour. The sheer speed violently distorts the air, creating a deafening roar of rushing wind that echoes against the massive stone walls, the terrifying acoustic signature of the apex predator's lethal strike. The terrified fox sprints frantically across the darkened plains, zigzagging wildly. But the eagle makes tiny, incredibly rapid twitches with its primary feathers, steering its heavy body with impossible precision. At the absolute last fraction of a second, the eagle throws its massive wings violently open to rapidly break, creating a massive visual parachute. It violently thrusts its incredibly thick legs forward, exposing razor-sharp talons.
golden eagle slams directly into the back of the fleeing Corsac Fox. The sheer physical violence sends a massive shockwave. The eagle forcefully presses its powerful talons incredibly deep into the prey, pinning it to the earth. The hunt is over. The eagle raises its head and lets out a sharp, echoing shriek of absolute victory. The wolf pack and the wolverine pause, completely acknowledging the terrifying power of the avian king. It is now 7 o'clock in the evening. The golden steppes sink entirely into dark dusk. The massive eagle stands aggressively over its fallen prey, tearing meat to sustain its survival. The diurnal rulers yield the territory to the nocturnal hunters, a profound, continuous circle of life and death turning endlessly in the high peaks. Yet, as I close my field journal for the day, I note a chilling discrepancy in this ancient mechanical rhythm. 15 years ago, the paralyzing thermal lull of midday lasted barely 2 hours. This summer, the invisible thermal highways did not rebuild themselves until late in the afternoon. Nature does not express anger. It does not preach, and it certainly does not ask for our salvation. It simply recalibrates its brutal physical equations, silently adjusting the hands of the ecological clock and quietly leaving behind those who can no longer keep the pace.